Slovenia is a little talked about country in Central Europe with a population of just over 2 million. Today I will talk about the advantages and disadvantages of investing in Slovenian real estate and give you my conclusion at the end of the video. So let's talk about the advantages. Number one, stability. Slovenia is a member of both NATO and the European Union. It is also part of the Schengen area and has adopted the euro as its currency. Number two, location. So Slovenia is in a strategic location at the heart of Europe, bordering Austria, Croatia, Hungary and Italy. And this is both good for international business and tourism. Number three, linguistic skills. So the Slovenians are real polyglots. Many, in particular the young, speak several languages, including English, German and Italian. Number four, safety. So crime rates in Slovenia are low, and in particular violent crime is very low indeed. Number five, tourism. So from 2010 to 2019, tourism more than doubled in numbers, and with the end of the pandemic in sight, tourism is picking up in a big way. Number six, economy. So in Slovenia, the unemployment rate is low at 4.2%, and over the last several years or so, there has been very decent GDP growth. So if we take years 2014 to 2019, it ranged from 2.2% to 3.25%. And although GDP fell in 2020 by 4.2%, due obviously to the pandemic, it is believed that it's grown by over 6% in 2021. So pretty good performance, I have to say. Now, like many other countries, Slovenia is experiencing a significant increase in inflation. In February 2020, this stood at 6.9%. So we've talked about some really positive things about Slovenia. However, there are quite a few negatives, particularly concerning the real estate market. So, number one, population decline. Slovenia's population unfortunately is on the decline. It is expected to decrease from 2,080,000 in 2022 to 1,925,000 by 2050, according to macro trends. Now, other forecasts have painted an even bleaker picture, so that's not good for the real estate market. Number two, the prices in Slovenia are quite high. So if we take the capital, Ljubljana, the average price for existing apartments is between 3,300 and 3,500 euros per square meter. Certainly not cheap. And in new apartments in the city centre, these can go for over 7,000 euros per square meter. Now, these prices are definitely high when you consider average salaries in Ljubljana are less than 1,500 euros a month net. And that leads me on to point number three. I believe prices may have peaked in Slovenia. So in real terms, they're close to 2008 levels when prices did reach a peak and then there was a correction. And if we take the year 2021, even in cities outside the capital like Maribor and Koper, property prices went up by well over 10%, more than the capital, Ljubljana. Number four, unfortunately, the yields in Ljubljana are low. So yields are around 4 to 4.5% on average, although outside of Ljubljana, you may get more. Now, as Ljubljana is a small capital, the number of expats, embassies, multinationals is also small, so the supply of tenants is restricted. And Slovenia itself has a high ownership rate of 75%. So again, this could limit the number of tenants you can find. Although with prices actually increasing, home ownership has started to come down, or it has been coming down actually over the last few years. Number five, let's talk about taxation a bit. So this leads me on to renting out your property. So not only are the yields low, rental taxation is quite high. It's a flat rate of 27.5%. Now, there are, though, deductions for maintenance costs, but you do need to provide invoices. You can instead claim a lump sum deduction of 15%. So you may want to take that route if it's easier. That said, rental income tax is quite high, and capital gains tax is also high at 27.5%. Now, the tax rate on capital gains is decreased depending on the length of period held. So the tax rate is 20% for a holding period from 5 to 10 years, 15% for a holding period from 10 to 15 years, 10% for a holding period from 15 to 20 years, and you don't pay any capital gains tax if you hold the property for more than 20 years. But it's a long time really to have to wait to make a gain and pay no tax in Slovenia. And number 6, I want to talk about the total government debt to GDP. Now, although it's not very high, it's around 77.5% in 2021. It is much higher than many other countries that I think are a better investment. For example, Bulgaria is only about 25%. And if we look at other countries, let's say Estonia is even lower. And finally, number 7, unfortunately, there are restrictions on foreign buyers. Now, it's very, very straightforward if you're a citizen of the EU, EEA, or the US. For other countries, you're going to have to check the restrictions. So, in conclusion, what's the conclusion? Well, I think it's this. Slovenian real estate, in my opinion, is definitely not an investment opportunity. I think prices are far, far too high, and I think there may well be a correction simply because inflation is high, interest rates will go up, and I think this may lead to a property price drop. But what about lifestyle? What about as a lifestyle purchase? Now, to be honest, when I looked at property in and around Lake Bled, which I think is one of the nicest parts of Slovenia, I was disappointed to see how high prices were. In many instances, they were higher than Lake Como and Lake Maggiore in Italy, which in my opinion are much more beautiful and popular with foreign buyers and tourists. So from my perspective, I think Slovenia, unless you really, really are into the country, is not great either as an investment and even as a lifestyle purchase. You may be buying now and there can be some downside to this market. Anyway, I'm dying to know your thoughts. Please let me know if you've ever considered buying property in Slovenia. I'd love to know your thoughts. That's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next video.